So, hello, magical souls. Welcome to another episode of our podcast. And today I'm joined by the incredible Oihane, who is a holistic healer and an Akashic record reader. That's a bit of a mouthful. And a guide who has developed her own methodology called Inner Nature Integration, or I&I for short. And we're going to be diving into one of the hottest topics in the spiritual world right now, which is intuition. And today we are going to discuss why are so many people talking about it and why is it rising to the surface in this time of global change. So, Oyana, thank you for being here today. Would you like to tell us, our audience, about yourself and share how you feel about intuition? Over to you.
Thank you. Thank you, Catherine. And thank you for having me here. It's such an honor and a pleasure to be sharing this space with you and everybody watching and listening to us. So yes, intuition. Intuition, I think, has been quite central to my life. And then I've understood how important it is to share and connect and support others in investigating it. And why is intuition coming back to us? Why is it such a hot topic? I feel that we have become lost, and intuition in a way is the place in our body is even physical. You can feel it when you tap into it, and is a place in our body where we can connect to nature's language, to the bigger web that we're all part of. And this sense of the humans feeling lost and not connected to one another, going back into our intuition will kind of help us go into that space of connection again. And hopefully, people are going more towards that pathway in this time of change, as you're saying, Catherine. And also, we can hold space for that to happen more and more. I believe that there's been so many structures that have been broken, so many dogmas that we've been moved across as societies, and those are being broken. We are hopefully unraveling them, ways of oppression and structures. And I'm talking from a Western white position. Obviously, there is so many communities that intuition is part of life, and there is probably not even a word for it because there's no need for that word to be there because it's just so organically in their bodies and in their life experience, how they relate to the world and to one another. We need to remember. And I think that's the biggest thing for me. Let's remember where intuition lies, so we can feel connected and be participants of more than our individuality, our communities in a different way. I wonder if you're seeing this coming through for you as well with your Akashic work, Catherine.
Absolutely, Ayana, it's so interesting because not only in the Akashics, but for example, so many people are born into the Western world, choosing parents and families and societies to be born into spiritually minded people who are then taught to think a certain way, and then we are kind of it's important that we remember who we are at our roots and bring our intuition back in, and then share that with those around us and remind them. And the Akashic Record Keepers and Guides do this regularly. I do have clients there that are always encouraged to trust their inner knowing. So, for example, I have clients who come in asking for concrete answers like, should I take this job, or is this relationship right? And the records don't always hand over ready-made answers. Sometimes they do. Sometimes they have a very crystal yes, no, etc. But often what I find is instead that they invite people to reconnect with their intuition because that's where the most aligned choice comes from. So it's like the records hold a mirror up for the person to say, to help them recognize what they already know and and to help them understand that they already know more than they think. And do you find this same theme of self-trust coming up for you in your own work?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I is connected to the Akashic Records because that's a practice that I consistently use for myself and others. So it's central to I. And it resonates so much what you're saying when I work with clients one to one as well as in groups, where most of the time is I hold space for you to develop that remembering, to um, for you to do the path inwards back to that space of reconnection with yourself, because then you don't depend. And we're moving away from the idea of depending from a structure as a built religion by humans or other built knowledges, to go back into trusting, go back into the experience of awakening that inside of you, which then makes you so much more independent in your decision making. And that is the change, isn't it? Without having to depend on an external being or structure to tell you what is the best course of action. If you listen within, you know. And that's what I kind of work on with I and I. Um, would it be helpful for me to kind of go into more detail of I
Please.
and I before I jump in straight away, Catherine?
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay.
I'm all
So
about you today. Yeah.
it's all about passion, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I'm quite passionate. It's an evolving practice. I kind of, as most of us, are in the spiritual world, and again, kind of connecting to where I am and who I am as a white woman in the Western world, I feel like most of my work is research, remember, reconnect. And I kind of encourage other people to do that. I and I comes from different pathways. I'm a social worker, so there's a big idea of understanding how being part of a community is important, and being your best version in a community is such a big thing in order to support those around you and be safe at the same time. It comes from my background in theatre, where understanding, incorporating the body and the layers of the physicality of embodying other beings makes you understand diversity a lot more than if you're just doing it from your head and your mind. And then the spiritual pathway of the Akashic records. I'm also a meditation teacher. So all of these things kind of pieces of the puzzle that I've been building. And then I and I has kind of started merging them together. And inner nature integration talks about that. How do we integrate who we are as a natural being, as a part of this network of nature, as the animals that we are, as well as our layer of being human animals, which makes us different to other animals, understanding that, and showing up for our communities with that in mind and having done that work. The center of it, as we've been discussing, is awakening the intuition, because I'm very, very passionate about it. And I feel like, again, it's a remembering and a living process. I am constantly learning more things, implementing more things, and learning from the people I work with. Every one-to-one, every group will teach me a next layer, because I observe someone going through a certain pattern, having a certain catharsis when we do an exercise where they're connecting to a deep wound and they need to be held. And from that learning, we grow together also as a group. I love one-to-ones, but I love group work as well, because that brings a level of understanding of the uniqueness of each individual within a similar context. So inner nature integration work, I've based it on the four elements as a base, because I love working with symbolism. I feel like you were saying, Catherine, with the mirrors, the guides being the mirrors. I feel that inner nature integration, I bring the symbolism of nature as mirror as well, because we use that to understand ourselves better. So if I put a mirror up and we do a guided meditation about water, and then we go into our subconscious, living in water, becoming water, and then we discuss this, and we can develop and understand, like developing pictures the old way, and you start kind of seeing in the conscious mind, oh, that's what it meant. This part of the journey meant this, and this part of the journey meant that. So I work with the four elements as a base, but then we work with spiritual animals a lot. So all my guided meditations, a lot of my one-to-ones is become this animal. Just play. Let's play for a little while. Use this mirror, loosen the judgment that you have of yourself that has been inbuilt with so many layers. And by losing the judgment because you're being someone else, and that's where the theatre comes in, then that's a moment of relief and release and freedom. And then we talk about it and we observe it and we channel the information that is there for you through the guides in that experience. I mean, and all of that again, in the pathway of, I would I want to hold the hand of people while they open the door inwards and they do this journey of exploration and going, okay, who am I? Where do I come from? I'm remembering this. Oh my God. I see clients, they're like, oh, I remember this feeling.
Yeah.
And this feeling makes me happy because it reminds me of this. And then they connect to that. And then I was like, can you connect to that when you're making decisions? Because that's your intuitive. A lot of the time when we're kids, we're very intuitive and then that disappears. It's like, can you remember that symbol, that moment of happiness before you make a big decision? Let's sit together and do that now because you have a question. I'm not going to answer it for you. The guides are not bringing the information today for you.
Yeah.
Try and explore it yourself. And then the light in their eyes and how from there they know the path back. So every time they need to make a big decision, they know where to go in their body, in their emotion. We might think of strategies like day-to-day strategies of how do I implement this little thing? Um, and that will help me trigger the memory of the pathway back. And from there, I develop the intuition, I connect to it, and I make my decisions. And the impact of that is immense. So, I mean, I could speak about this forever because I'm very passionate, but I would love to hear from you and see
Yeah.
what what are you seeing in your work in your day to day about the intuition in more detail because I'm fascinated about learning from you as well.
Oh, yeah. Well, just before I go into that, I just wanted to comment on what you were saying. And firstly, the methodology that you're using sounds really magical. I love it. I love it. I've written a book called Abundance Magic, and I use animal symbology for the different chapters to help people, relate back to animals as well. So I absolutely love connecting with the animal energy, that we can learn so much from their traits and their characters. And then I also wanted to just say that pleased to hear how you are meeting people where they are. So they've been born into this world, into the society, and you're able to actually meet them where they're at and then take them to where they need to be. That sounds very beautiful. And I also just wanted to mention about when you were talking about group energy. I have to say the shift in energy when more than one person comes together, it's so magical. Everything moves faster, deeper, and better. So I can agree with you in terms of the big group work. I think it's really lovely. And then to talk about your question, to answer your question, what I see often with the record keepers is like I mentioned earlier, that somebody will come to me and they'll say, they'll be thinking, they'll receive a job title from the record keepers and guides or very clear answers. But often, what the record keepers and guides not only do is talk about their intuition, but help them have clarity about their values.
Mm,
For example, a client once came in asking about her career, and instead of a job description, the records gave her a deep reminder of her soul values. And in that particular case, it was freedom, creativity, and service. And from that point, when she understood her values, decisions became effortless. So, does this align with my value? No, moving on. And she could take all the voices out of her head from her family, from society, from people that maybe even friends that were trying to lead her to what they thought was best for her. She was then actually able to look inwards and find that intuition, which is a beautiful compass to follow. And the guides often give them a past life download. So anybody that comes to a reading for me through me is given a download of a past life straight away. And through this past life, we are able to understand what this person is like at a soul level. It'll highlight their soul's blueprint, their mission and purpose for being here, because whatever they did in that original life. So we get a past life where somebody might have been a healer or I don't know, a doctor or anything like that, or anything. And then in this lifetime, if they're not, they'll know when I bring through that past life, it'll hit everything, all their nerves, all their um, remembrance. And often people start crying because they can't believe that I'm saying what their deepest thoughts are, that they haven't even allowed themselves to think or had buried that part of themselves away so deeply because of their society, because of their surroundings. So that's obviously very healing as well when when the record keepers and guides bring to life uh, this situation so that people can then follow that intuition, remember who they are. And I've seen again and again that the intuition then is not only for the big life moments, but for small daily choices. And the record keepers and guides always remind us that intuition is your soul's way of speaking in the present moment. Do you find that with I people to rediscover their intuition in those everyday things too?
Definitely, Catherine, and thank you. That's It's always very inspiring to share spaces with people that do a similar practice in your own way, but it is refreshing and wonderful to share these spaces. I find um, I was listening to you and at the same time thinking about my clients, and I've been mentoring a young woman for the past probably a year, and we do sessions every other week for her home path. And I think most of the work that we do is for the day to day, because it's more consistent than maybe my one offs or every 3 or 4 months where you've got a deeper reading and we answer bigger questions. But with her particularly, um, I see the evolution because from a place of uh, deep anxiety, a fear for life, and really questioning everything and feeling that she wanted to run away consistently from whatever she was doing. We've broken down so many things by just holding the space and going into these meditations and using so many different practices that are channeled mostly for her by her guides. So that potentially use this practice, use this little um, uh, meditation, find this pathway in your day to day. Go and see the sunrise this week. There is always the guys give kind of very subtle and we could seem insignificant kind of advice on day-to-day activities that can shift deeply into that space of inner trust. And with her as an example, not only I see her evolution and we have check-ins, I see her every other week, but we have check-ins every 2 or 3 months saying, so let's go back and see and let's go forward and see. I had a session with one of her best friends that she started working with me like maybe 2 weeks ago. And the first thing she said is like, oh, I love the work that you were doing with my friend. She has become who I've always thought she was under all those layers of fear. And it gives me shivers because I just hold a hand. The person does the work, and it can take all a lifetime, it can take a year, it can take whatever it takes is fine. But the beauty of not only me acknowledging it as someone that sees her consistently and prepares for working with her and channels information from her guides, but someone very close to her, the first thing coming out of her mouth is an acknowledgement of the work that she's been able to do. And most of it is by day to day, tiny, gentle, beautiful practices, a lot to do with reconnecting with the body, a lot to do with reconnecting with the sensory experience of life, because when we go into a spiritual practice, a lot of the time we forget about pleasure and about the physicality of our 3D experience. So bringing and bridging, and that's why we talk about integrating intuition being something very spiritual, but being very, very embodied by connecting to the pleasure and the sensory experience of life, by having a bath and being present in the bath and really having a good scrub and feeling how the skin changes and paying attention to those details, we are awakening the intuition immediately just because we're listening to the body. And by repeating those actions daily, intuition awakens, and sometimes it's not your brain telling your body, I need to remember, I need to awaken the intuition, because that can be quite uh, counteractive, but going through a different pathway of not bypassing the brain, just involving all the layers of the being. And then intuition becomes awakened and embedded in the day to day. So I feel like that's something that I find extremely special to witness. And the guys and everything that I do, and maybe that's why my background in theatre is also very, very practical, and I'm studying somatic counseling because the body is such a, it's our vessel, and how we forget. And I've forgotten when I started my spiritual path, so I'm the first one that has to remember. And by remembering myself, I have to bring everybody with me. It's like, oh, okay, we had forgotten about the pleasure. We had forgotten that that's important, of sitting with something that I love eating and being present at that time and not rushing through it will allow my body to open the space for that listening. And when we listen within, that's how um, intuition starts having space to open up. A lot of the time when we work, I call intuition a muscle. It's muscle memory.
Yeah.
And as we go into Pilates and we find those inner deep muscles that you've never exercised, and you're like, did I have this muscle? Now it's aching. Now I know it's there. Same with intuition. It's like, how do we create a path into our bodies to recognize intuition physically in the body, and then exercise that muscle so we know that it's there, it's present, and it becomes more central to our lives. It's like a core muscle, I would call it. So yeah, that's how I see it in my day to day. I think a lot in the work that we do, also in groups. But I again, there is so much to share. And I know you want to share a meditation with us because, again, you want to embody this energy, which is wonderful. Beyond us talking about it, let's feel it. I think.
Absolutely. And I will go and do that. I was just laughing, can't stop laughing at your analogy of that muscle, that hidden muscle. I know that one too well.
Yes,
So
same. We have to remind ourselves.
yes, and I think it's not really always our own fault because, like I said earlier, we are actually taught to. I certainly was that my own needs are secondary. My physical body's needs are secondary. Everything is secondary to achieve, achieve, achieve. You have to achieve. You have to do well. You have to work. Those sorts of things. That's what's drummed into you.
Mhm.
And when I disconnected from all of that and followed similar things to what you were talking about earlier, magic started to happen. I was more successful than ever before by actually disengaging from that. But I just know so many people, and that's why we have so much, I think, illness in our Western world because we're trying to push ourselves to do things that we're not supposed to, and we're not listening. So your workshops would definitely help a lot of people return to who they really are at a soul level. So it makes a lot
Thank
of
you. Thank you. I do try. We do try to hold space for whoever's ready to do the journey because you need to be ready as well.
Yes, I will be sending them your way
Thank
when they're ready, when the guys tell me that they're ready.
Exactly, exactly.
Okay, so I would like to share a beautiful intuition meditation to help us remove blocks to our intuition today. So everybody, if you would like to just find a nice, comfortable position and just follow my voice as we start to breathe in for 2, 4, 5, and out for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You can close your eyes if you want to as we're breathing in for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and allow yourself to be present as we breathe out for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Just allow yourself to imagine a very beautiful, soft golden light above your head. And notice how this light begins to pour down gently through the crown of your head, washing through your mind, clearing away old stories that tell you not to trust yourself. Notice how this golden light removes the voices that from well-meaning friends and relatives and society that just don't help you anymore, that prevent you from going inwards. And now notice how this beautiful golden light moves through your throat chakra. Feel it clearing any fear of speaking or hearing your truth. Just allow it to open and soften the space within your chakras. And take a moment now to notice if, as the light settles into your heart, are there any walls or blocks to your intuition? Breathe gently and allow this golden light to dissolve any resistance. Open your heart to trust your inner knowing. Feel the energy of light moving through you. It's time to bring in any guides that you wish to work with now. Any ascended masters, the archangels. The goddess of liberty is very good at helping us illuminate things, showing us which path to take, how to move forward, and any blocks that we have. So now, with all your beautiful guides present, take a moment now to bring your attention to the space just above your brow, your third eye. Just notice that this space is glowing. And allow your mind to see a beautiful deep indigo color of light around your third eye. And notice now that if there are any veils, doubts, or shadows clouding your vision, just allow the gold light to clear them now. Breathe deeply and feel your intuition opening, shining, and ready to guide you. Just breathe again very deeply and reinforce your intuition, connection. Allow the archangels to help you to set on autopilot the intention that your intuition will be available for you in the coming days, weeks, months. And now imagine roots extending from your feet deep into the earth, grounding this intuitive clarity so that it becomes part of your everyday life. And you can repeat silently or out loud, I trust my intuition. My inner knowing is clear, safe, and always guiding me. Just repeat that again. I trust my intuition. My inner knowing is clear, safe, and always guiding me. And just allow your guides to bring a very beautiful energy around you so that this information can infiltrate into every cell of your body, into your mind. Allow the goddess of liberty to shine a light in front of you, to lead you, to guide you back to your intuition. And ask the angels, archangels, to help you focus inwards before you make any decisions in your life, so that you come to clearer, better, more perfect decisions. And on the next breath in, let's thank the guides and ascended masters and archangels that have helped us today. And as you exhale, start to feel the chair at your back and the earth at your feet. And when you're ready, you can come back to the call. How did that go for you?
Oh, that was so powerful. Thank you, Catherine. I'm still coming back. Thank you. That was wonderful. I really, really appreciate that. And isn't it just wonderful to be in a space where we can make time for being in the intuition and opening the soul, the energy, and the body to it? How do you recommend these meditations to your clients? How do you recommend these go into day-to-day lives? So powerful.
I do. I feel like meditating daily is a real gift that we need to give ourselves every day. And or if you can't, if you just cannot, pause for meditation, pause to ask yourself for inner guidance. And that can shift everything. Because I know not every day it's possible, and I don't want people to berate themselves for not making the time to meditate on a particular day. We have busy lives, we have things to get done. But I do as I said earlier, when we just take that moment to look inwards, work with our intuition, our inner compass, then decisions flow more easily and you have more time. You feel more supported. And that is why I think this work matters so much now. Oyana, thank you so much for sharing your beautiful methodology with us and for reminding us of the power of listening deeply. For everyone tuning in, we hope this conversation has inspired you to reconnect with your intuition, whether through the Akashic records or inner nature integration, or your own practice. I've actually included in the description, sorry, a link for Oyana so that you can contact her directly. And you can also find her on our website, akashicrecordreadingsuk.com, if you needed to book a session with her. So, yes, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you, Catherine. It's been lovely to be here. Thank you for holding some beautiful, beautiful space. And yeah, hoping everyone does these practices. And as you say, even in their own way and their own development, just go in and listen. Isn't it a wonderful experience? Lovely
Wonderful.
to be here. Thank you.
Thank you. So, everyone, take care and stay magical. Until next time.